Coach, obviously your team got a good win in the home opener last week, but throw that all out the door in a rivalry week.
Yeah, it's this is a tough game, no matter where it's played, but particularly down there. So we'll have to be very good on Saturday to have a chance to be successful. They're a good football team, and as you know, I know their head coach very well. I recruited him there, and he's done a good job there. So yeah, we'll have our hands full in this one, but this is why we play college football. We play in rivalry games. It makes it fun. So, any questions?
You anticipate their quarterback starting will be the...
I don't know. I don't know if they just took him out. Sometimes you take a quarterback out that might be, you might want to be struggling a little bit. You guys haven't watched for a while, and look how the defense is defending them, and it's a little bit teaching moment. So I don't know. I don't think there was an injury. I don't think there was any of that, but it could be that too. But maybe they wanted to see the other guy a little bit, see how he
the
does.
other guy a thrower?
Yeah, he throws. Yeah, I would say he's got a good arm. Yeah. First guy's a very good athlete. He can run. Yeah, he can run. But he's got plenty of arm talent to beat you. He's a good player. And he's a good runner. He can run. Yeah, very much so.
Is that Wolf kid a transfer, or is he a freshman or a young kid? Or?
I think he's from the state of Michigan. He's a high school player, I believe. Yeah, I believe that's. I should know the answer to the question, but I believe he is. Yes. Yeah. I think that's yes.
Coach, are you going to start Tommy this week?
Absolutely. Yeah, we were trying to hold him out. He could have played. He could have started the game. He was fine, plenty good enough to play at the end of the week. But we kind of agreed as a staff, and Tony and I had a couple conversations that we would, try to hold him out just to let's not get him hit again and have something. Okay, now we have to start up this week and do that all over again, and then you got to do it next week, So we kind of wanted to see if he could heal up and see what Beckham. And Beckham had a tough start to the game, put the ball on the ground twice. We just couldn't have that, so he knew it. But he started getting in a rhythm a little bit on a series. That's what kind of made me mad, because he started throwing the ball on rhythm, and I was like, here we go. This is the guy we see him practice every day. He's got a very good arm. He got very good arm talent, and he just needs to keep playing. Tom will make that tough this year, but you just can't put the ball on the ground twice. So we went with Tommy, and it all worked out, and Beckham got to come back in then. But he'll be back to the ball well today. But he's practiced well for a while, but he needs to continue to hopefully get some reps here as we go through the season, as we move forward. Yeah, Tommy will be the starter for sure. Mm-hmm.
Can you touch a little bit on Pope and Maldonado's weekly honors?
I didn't know they had an honor. Do they have an honor?
Yeah, weekly honors for those.
Thanks for telling me that, Mike. I'm going to throw him under the bus. No, it's okay.
Pope lineman of the week, Maldonado special teams.
Good. Yeah, that just happened today, right?
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Late afternoon.
Yeah. We were busy. Yeah, no problem. I think it's great. Both, Maldonado is a kid from, I think, Yorkville, Illinois, right? I guess you call it the Sticks of Chicago. And he's done a really good job here, and I've been very happy with him. He's a competitor. That's what I like about him. He's got a good length. He's a tall guy, athletic, and just kind of pleasant to be around. And he's been a great find for us, and been very very happy with him. Jake's been around here a long time, Pope, and you expect that a guy. He's been redshirted twice with season-ending injuries. He tore one pec when he was at University of Kentucky and tore the other one here. His first year as a starter here, so he's paid his dues, and it's been good to see. He's been a good leader this fall and then in the summer, and then even the off season last year. So he's deserving. I think he's been playing pretty well lately, so that's good, and we need him to play well.
can't underestimate the comedic relief Jake brings on the plane.
Oh, you can't. I think that's one
It's a
reason.
treat to sit
There's a
front.
reason why I sit in the back. One is to keep an eye on a guy like him and make sure he doesn't get too out of control. The other one is I just don't need to hear it. But he does make me laugh and smile, so I kind of listen in on him sometimes. But sometimes there's a time and place for everything. Sometimes he doesn't understand.
Yeah, there you go.
So his timing can be bad. But he's a great kid. You don't want to take that part away from him because his personality. That's what makes him who he is. But yeah, you are absolutely correct on that.
The stark difference in rushing totals for Eastern from week 1 to week 2. Week 1, they ran all over Dayton. How much of that was due to LaCrue, their quarterback, and then they changed. Of course, they were behind. Is it circumstances of the game, or what did Indiana State
I think
do?
exactly what you said. It's more about. I'm sure Indiana State played a very good football game. No doubt about that. But I think that had to do with the type of game it was and the players who were playing quarterback. That's pretty accurate. Yeah, I think you answered your own question there. At least that's what I saw on tape. And they're a big group up front, and they can swallow you up, and they're big people, and they're pretty good athletes, and they're a Division I front, so they'll be able to. We'll have to try to get off blocks, and make plays because it won't be easy. But yeah, I think that's exactly right with the way you said it.
In a game like this that isn't a conference game, but when you have a lot of new players coming in each year, do the older guys kind of fill them in on the rivalry and the trophy and all that, or is that part of the coach's job too?
I think I did that pretty. I try to educate the players on Sunday. Once we were done with the game, I'll get up and speak and tell them about the rivalry and how great a game it is and all that stuff. And I'm one of the rare people who've sat in both locker rooms. So actually Ted has done that. I forgot. I said I might be the only person. No, it's Ted. I see Ted back there. He went to school there. So I think that's a different perspective that some coaches don't have that have coached here or even there. But rivalry games are why we do this. But yeah, you have to educate the players and what the importance of it and why it's a big game. It's a long-standing rivalry in our state, and it's between two great institutions. So it's a lot of fun. The game's a fun game. That's why we do this.
Saturday night when I asked Tommy about it, going back to Charleston and remembering 2023, he was like all of a sudden smile wiped off his face, total intensity level there, like he was in game face mode already for that game. So, and I don't think he even played in that game, but he remembers the result and what it ended up costing your team that year.
Yeah. It's no comment. So we'll just move on. Yeah, it was. I shouldn't say that. Guys who were around for that game. That was awesome. It is what it is. We didn't play good enough to win, and that's inexcusable in that game. So
It's a big deal for them. It's their game of the year. Every year it is. It always is. It always has been.
It was when I was there. I can tell you that it was very, very important, and so we try to make sure we educate our players. This is no joke now. This is college football at its finest. So yeah, I think every university seems to have a rival, and it's fun to have rivals. You got to have rivals.
Yes.
I remember when I was a young coach, one of the boosters at Purdue told me, well, Brock, we got to have Indiana be better. I said, why?
Yeah.
I said, why would you want that? And he, matter of fact, he died about a month ago, sadly to say, but he said, because you always want your rival to be good, because that brings the best out of you. And then that's true, and your rival, you respect them because they're good, and that's why they're a rival. And so it's been a hotly battled game for years, and it will be after you and I are long gone.
Yeah.
They'll still be playing it, and it'll be a rivalry. So it makes it awesome. So, but yeah, I never took that. I never understood that. Now all of a sudden, I get it. You want your rival to be good, and they've been good. So, but so have we. Makes it a fun game.
The running backs and offensive line have been pretty darn good both weeks, and have you settled in on a guard between Barnhart and Brassfield?
Yeah, I think you'll see. Barnhart's going to play. And he's an experienced guy. He deserves to play. He's a good kid, a hard worker. He came back for an extra year here. Didn't have to do that, and he'll play some for sure. But we'll probably start the game with 70. Yeah, probably.
Sounds like weather-wise supposed to be really hot Saturday.
Sounds.
We haven't really had that. So
We've had it all
it's
summer.
this year.
We've had it all summer, and then we got to training camp, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I'm almost to put a jacket on sometimes. I mean, it's been beautiful. Yeah, but good news is they had to do with it too. Oklahoma. I mean, who would have thought? I mean, it was humid, but it wasn't really hot. I mean, the folks there said, Coach, I know you guys, it gets hot there, but it's 97 to 105 here at this time of year. You can't believe how nice this is for us. And it was overcast. It was perfect. It was really nice, but it was pretty humid. But other than that, it wasn't bad. But yeah, it's part of the deal. Your conditioning is going to be challenged on Saturday. Your toughness.
You get hot down there, can't you?
Oh yeah, I will tell you, in my opinion, it's the hottest place I ever lived. I mean, it was hot and humid. I don't remember the wind blowing there like it does up here.
Right.
And when I grew up in Rockford, the wind was pretty stout. But it wasn't quite as windy there. I don't remember that, but maybe it was. I just didn't remember. But and there was no reason why it shouldn't be because it's pretty flat like it is here. But it was hot. I remember hot and humid there. It was very humid. High water table, I think, is part of the reason there. It was one of the hotter places I lived. And I remember that. Yeah.
Even in October, it get real hot.
Yeah, be pretty warm. I always remember when I ran track and field in high school that, up there in Rockford, we were running for our sweats. If you're a 100-meter guy, you sprint to the sweats, and put them on while you're done. God, it was so cold. And then you go all through that, and then you get to the May, and the end of May, you go down there on Memorial Day weekend, and it'd be 95.
Yeah.
And you have to go through all these prelims, and you're just about dying. You haven't had any heat at all. Never. I mean, not like that. I mean, it was always that way. You go down, it's hot.
You'd be as red as your shirt from your sunburn.
Oh my
You could
God.
always tell the people who went down.
Yeah.
The state track meet, yeah,
Because they were red.
yeah. It was,
You've been to the state track.
yeah. What a great time in my life, though. Oh man, that was awesome. But God, it was hot. That's all I remember. It was hot, and I was a kid, and I still remember how hot it was. Yeah. Anyways.
You got some depth this year, so we can roll some guys into about all positions, can't you, Coach, in a game like this?
Well, we hope so. Yeah, we've been able to do that so far, and it doesn't look like we're going to have too many issues with that going into this game. So that's we've been practicing our third team, some and threes and fours. 'Cause we think there's some guys on that team that are going to play eventually. They might not be quite ready today. They're not necessarily freshmen, but they're guys who don't have a lot of experience yet, and we're trying to get them to game ready. So we carried it a couple periods today. We had our ones, twos, and threes, so we're getting ready for the game. So we need to do that. We just if you want to be where you want, where you think you should be at the end of the year, you got to have depth, and you got to develop players because you never know when you need a call on them. And we at the quarterback position, we've already called on one, and some other positions as well. So.
Coach, piggybacking off that, you had several guys score their first touchdowns on Saturday night. You know, new guys, Nick True, Maylander caught his first, even though he's been here a couple of years, Beckham threw his first. How important is it for them to get going and get involved and get that kind of momentum here in the non-conference that then hopefully will translate into the conference?
Yeah, I think it's really important, you know, and all those guys got a chance to get on the field against Oklahoma and get in that kind of environment. I think that's really, really good experience. As you know, Mike, if you're going to win championships, you have to win on the road, and that's not easy to do. As I told the team in the locker room after the game, it's hard to win a Division I football game. It's hard to do that, and you should be thankful and happy and proud of yourself. But we'll worry about the details on Sunday, and we'll get better on Sunday. Any type of things that need to be fixed, but. Yeah, I think those kind of things you like to build confidence in players, and I think that'll be good. And this will be a completely different environment that we played in. Yeah, this will be completely different than the first two, as you know. And in midday heat, you know, so it'll be just a different environment there. So.
Coach, over the last couple of weeks, it looked like the run defense was pretty solid, but the pass defense struggled. What adjustments do you have to make for Eastern?
Actually, I would tell you we had a couple of X plays in the running game on Saturday night that weren't too exciting to watch. Yeah, there's some things that I think we'll continue to get better. It's a good question, really. You are right. It's more technical than it is physical, I'd say. You know, that's probably the best way I could put it. And we have to be a little technically. We weren't very sharp early, I didn't think. But they had you can tell they run a script. You know, I don't know if you feel that, but they are running a script. I mean, the quarterback knew right where to throw. You know, and he's going here, and they work the script, right? So they're called openers. Offense calls openers, so we call them a place I came from, and they're big on that. You know, but once the game got into a normal game mode where you didn't have a script, then it was different. You know, so there are some offensive coordinators that will do that. They'll write the next script up.
Yeah.
You know, and then they'll write the next script. You know, after, and they just kind of mix it up. Some guys do that. You know, I haven't been around guys that have done that, but I've known guys that have done that. But that was part of the first drive, in my opinion. But that's no excuse. You still have to defend them. And I think we gave them way too much room. Number one, we didn't put color on color, which is our jersey color on their jersey color, which means we didn't give them enough room. We gave them way too much room, and I'm not a big fan of free access, you know, or unmolested access for receivers. So you have to have something to do that. But there are certain times you'll have a little softer corner, depending on what you're doing with your safeties. You know, sometimes. So you have to kind of mix it, and we just didn't do a good job of that Saturday night, I didn't think. And our technique was still not where it needs to be. And if you asked us, you know, I mean, Ted brought this question up. He's a DB coach, and you know, you have a secondary experience. Does that bother you? I said, no. I mean, it is what it is. But they're getting better, but they're not where they need to be. So your answer to your question is it's more technical, and understanding the coverage and understanding where the coverage is weak. You know, where the weaknesses are in that, and how you'll be attacked. And some of these guys just haven't played a lot, and that's not, you know, it's nobody's fault. It's just kind of where it is. It's kind of college football now. It seems like, you know, it's always going to be an area that your team is probably going to be inexperienced. That's where ours is right now. So you just got to continue to get better, and I think they will be. They're really good athletes. I'm pretty happy with them. They just technically they got to get better. So.
Number 4 is a good example. He hasn't played much at this level, and he was better this week than he was the week before, and he'll be better every week.
Yeah, he's
pretty damn good.
He's pretty good. You know, he's very, very upside. You know, I wrote on the wall of our black chalkboard on the other side. You know, what is the most exciting team? What makes this team exciting? You know, it said in one of our players said, ceiling, got a tall ceiling. It's exactly right. You know, we have a lot of room to improve everywhere. It's not just in the secondary, everywhere. Our team has got a really large ceiling right now. And when you do play a lot of players, when you do play a lot of kids in practice, you know, you're just not phoning in on your ones all the time. You know, you're homing on your twos and your threes, for that matter too. It's your threes and fours. You're trying to develop depth while you lose practice time a little bit. So some of that gets, you know, you're probably not as locked in on technically that you should be. And but we're getting better, and we're not coming off of what we're doing. We're not doing a whole lot different than we ever do, but on defense. But we just need to play a little tighter on Saturday night, and that comes from confidence. You know, you're confident in your ability, and I use the term, you got to trust your training. And if you don't trust your training, you're gonna put yourself in a bad spot, and sometimes that's a little bit of that. Make sense, I hope?
Okay, good luck.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.